Going quiet when you're hurt was never actually your decision. By the end of this video, you'll know what's really making that decision for you, and why the thing people keep criticizing you for might be the most honest thing about you. Because the psychology of silence is probably the most misread pattern in human behavior. You know the moment. Someone says the thing that cuts, and everyone expects you to fire back. Instead, something in you closes. Your chest gets heavy. The words you needed are suddenly 3 rooms away, so you reach for the only 2 you can find. I'm fine. You didn't choose that, and you've probably paid for it. You've been called cold, distant. You've been accused of the silent treatment, of punishing people, of shutting them out on purpose, by people who genuinely love you and genuinely got it wrong. But here's what nobody's ever told you. That silence of yours is doing one specific job, and it's almost the exact opposite of what you keep getting accused of. We'll get there, I promise. First, you need to see what actually happens in your body in that moment. Because this pattern doesn't start in your personality. It starts in your nervous system. In the 1990s, a researcher named Dr. Stephen Porges mapped what he called polyvagal theory. Basically, a ladder of how your nervous system answers a threat. On the top rung, you're calm and connected, and you can actually say the sentence, "That hurt me." One rung down, stress takes over. You argue, you raise your voice, you leave the room. But when the pain spikes past what your system believes it can handle, it skips the ladder entirely and pulls the emergency brake, shutdown, the freeze response. Think of it like a circuit breaker. Too much current floods the line, so the panel kills the power. Not to hurt the house, to save it. And this is where it gets interesting. Researchers who study the psychology of silence keep landing on something called emotional flooding, the state where feeling swamps the brain faster than thinking can drain it. During that flood, the regions of your brain that produce language actually go dim, quiet, partially offline. So when someone stands in front of you saying, "Just talk to me," your brain has physically turned down its own ability to do exactly that. The words aren't stuck. They're gone. You're not refusing to hand them over. There's nothing at the counter. So, no, it's not stubbornness, and it's not a power move. It's biology protecting you the only way it knows how. But here's the part that changes everything. You weren't born with this response. Nobody is. Somewhere along the way, somebody taught you that silence, and they never had to say a single word to do it. Let me show you what I mean. Even is 34. It's his younger brother's wedding. A backyard reception, string lights, half of Ohio in folding chairs. During the toasts, his dad leans over, loud enough for the whole table, and says, "Still figuring things out, huh?" Everyone chuckles. Even smiles too. And somewhere behind that smile, a door slides shut. He doesn't argue. He refills somebody's drink. On the 2-hour drive home, his wife asks what's wrong. Once at the on-ramp, once at the rest stop, once in their own driveway. 3 times. And 3 times, eyes on the road, both hands on the wheel, he gives her the same 2 words. "I'm fine." Inside his head, it's a rock slide. Outside, nothing moves. So why does a grown man lose language over one sentence from his father? A psychologist named John Bowlby spent his whole career on that question. His research on attachment showed that the way you handle pain as an adult is a mirror of how your earliest caregivers handled it for you. Watch any toddler. Kids broadcast pain instinctively, loudly, right in the middle of the grocery store, zero shame, until expressing it starts costing them something. A dismissal, an eye roll, a stop being so sensitive. And the brain quietly writes a rule it never forgets. Showing hurt makes things worse. Handle it inside. Childhood isn't the only classroom, either. Some people learn this later, in relationships where every honest sentence got twisted and handed back as evidence. And some were simply built as internal processors. Brains that need to finish sorting a feeling before they can speak it. Different roads, same silence. But the real cost of that silence isn't what happens inside you. It's what the people outside it decide it means. And if you've ever sat on either side of that misunderstanding, do me one small favor. If this video is helping you feel a little more seen, subscribe. It genuinely helps this reach the next person sitting in that exact silence. Because what comes next is the part that quietly breaks relationships. So here's what your quiet looks like from the outside. Distance, apathy, a punishment being handed out. And the people who love you respond the way people always respond to a locked door. They knock harder. They follow you from room to room. How long are you going to do this? You can't just shut me out. Say something. And here's the thing about that pressure. Every push shoves your nervous system deeper into the freeze it was already fighting. Worse, it confirms the oldest lesson you carry, that your feelings are only acceptable when they're instant, verbal, and delivered on somebody else's schedule. The chase doesn't open the door. It welds it. Psychologists call it the window of tolerance, the band of emotional intensity where real conversation is actually possible. Inside the window, you can listen, weigh your words, stay fair. Outside it, nothing useful gets said by anyone, ever. And you've always known this without knowing the vocabulary. That's what your silence is. You're not running from the conversation. You're trying not to wreck it. Because that quiet isn't empty. Not even close. While the room sees a blank face, your mind is running the hardest conversation of your life at full volume. Was that fair? Did I do something? Have I felt this exact thing before? And if I open my mouth right now, does it come out as truth or as a weapon? You're pressure testing every sentence before it's allowed to exist. Most people call that shutting down. It's really the opposite. But there's a cost, and it's the one nobody warns you about. The biggest cracks in a relationship don't happen in the screaming. They happen in the quiet. Trust doesn't usually shatter. It evaporates, slowly, wordlessly, while two people sit in the same house rehearsing different hurts. Every time your silence gets punished instead of understood, some part of you files a note away. Opening up here isn't safe, and you retreat one room deeper, which sounds like bad news. But flip everything you just heard over, and it becomes something else entirely. Because look at what that silence has actually been doing all these years. In the exact moment you had the sharpest ammunition, the words that would have cut deepest, the ones that can never be taken back, you held them. Every single time. The thing you get accused of, shutting people out, was you holding yourself together so you didn't tear something apart. That's the job your silence has been doing. Not a wall against the people you love, a dam protecting them. And it shows when you finally do speak. Most people talk in reflexes. They say everything instantly and mean about half of it. You've turned your words over 100 times before they leave you. So when you say something hurt, the hurt is real. When you say you love someone, it's been tested. You were never refusing to speak. You were refusing to speak carelessly. So here's what to do with all of this. First, name it when it happens. The next time the words vanish, say it inside. This is a freeze, not a failure. Naming it hands you back the wheel. Second, build a door instead of a wall. One bridge sentence, said early. I can't find the words yet. Give me 30 minutes. I'm coming back. Remember Evan in that driveway? A month later, same car, different fight. He grips the wheel, and this time he says that sentence. His wife exhales. Nobody chases anybody. 31 minutes later, they actually talk. And third, stop apologizing for the pace of your truth. The psychology of silence was never about what's missing in you. It's about what's being protected. And the right people will learn to sit inside your quiet without fear. So tell me in the comments, which seat of that car are you in? The one going quiet or the one asking what's wrong? I read every reply. If this felt like someone finally explained you to yourself, subscribe. It helps more than you know. And next up, if you go quiet to protect everyone else, you already know this next pattern from the inside. The psychology of people who are kind to everyone, except themselves. why the gentlest person in the room often carries the harshest voice in their own head.